I'm really proud of how it came out, but is, I think to this day, still one of the hardest riffs I've ever written. I'm just going to be able to, rip people to shreds in the best kind of way, hopefully. So, hey, what's up, everyone? Brandon Hart here from the Heartbeat Studios, and welcome to the very first episode of a new series I would like to call Beyond the Sonics. This is number one going to be able to give you a little bit of insight behind not necessarily the what or the how, but the why I go about producing some of my songs the way that I do, the structure, the composition. So the song that we're going to be using for this first episode is a song that I did a couple years back with my incredible friend Victor Borba called Sonder. It was on my album Exodus, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into this session. So yeah, I wanted this part of the song to be extremely subtle so that when the intro hit, it was going to be a lot more impactful. And this part was programmed with native instruments. I believe it was session strings too. That's what it was. Okay, that's a really good place to stop it. That intro riff, funny enough, that you hear playing kind of in the background with this like telephonic effect on it, that actually started with an orchestral piece. That was originally going to be an orchestra piece. It was really hard for me to take the orchestral part that I had originally written and transcribe that or transition that into a guitar part. I'm really proud of how it came out, but is, I think to this day, still one of the hardest riffs I've ever written. All right, let's go ahead and continue this. Enter Victor Borba. Insane vocalist. I love the way that he did this. It just hit so hard. It's just intense, and I'm sure you can see now why I wanted the beginning of that to be a lot more subtle. But yeah, this riff sucks to play. Just in case anyone's wondering, it really sucks. Okay, verse 1. Okay, fun fact, this verse 1 was not supposed to have a lead guitar on it. It was just supposed to be that doo-doo. That's all it was supposed to be. And then when Victor Borba sent me his final vocals, it kind of made that first chorus that you're going to hear in a second, it made it super weird. It was like there was nothing to build up to his vocals being reintroduced during the chorus 1 section. For me, that was kind of like a last-minute decision before I sent these songs off to be mastered by Ermin Hamidovich. Let's go ahead and jump back into this verse. Tones brought to you by Archetype Nolly from Neural DSP. I wanted there to be a really cool sense of counterpoint between all those guitars. Just so big, huge. And this is how Victor sounds. This is how he sings. He's amazing. This is how I got them. Believe it or not. It's just hard to stop listening, His vocals really made this song, and the original version of Sonder was actually a lot different than this, believe it or not. See, that's nasty. That's what you call nastiness. Okay, you notice right there, there's actually a lead guitar that is supporting his vocals. That's doing a little bit of a harmony-esque vibe along with his vocals. That was like I made the decision to do that about 2 days before I sent the final mixes to Ermin. I just felt like I wanted to separate chorus 1 and chorus 2, and that was something that really just made this chorus a lot more sustainable in terms of someone continue to listen to the song, because if that guitar wasn't there, it would be an exact replica of the first chorus. So that was a really conscious decision for me to make when I was going about, producing this song and just making sure, because as we all know, the attention spans of people nowadays are that of a squirrel. So I wanted to make sure that in the second chorus and every section that followed or that was within the song was going to have like a really cool vibe to it and have something new for the listener to experience, because I wanted this, that's a great word to use for this song. I wanted this song to be an experience for someone to listen to. And thus far, a lot of people have said it is indeed an experience. That's completely objective. Some people may hate the song, and that's okay too. It's just all about having fun, Let's go ahead and just listen to Victor's vocals during the chorus. Asking the fear, hide away from the tension. That's ridiculous. Take your stand, pledge your feet, and then back into the song. And again, another change right here. If you listen, there's actually a tempo change. It goes from 225 to 250, which is a super conscious decision of mine to make sure that this song just kept on going. Got a little bit faster, You can hear it especially right here. That guitar that you hear that's supporting that orchestral part, that originally was not there. It was basically just going to be orchestra parts, but as I said again, I wanted this song to keep going and have something new. And I thought that tone just worked really well. It's with a split coil on my PRS, so. Yeah. Come on, Victor. Okay, before we go into this next section, it is really important for me to point out that throughout this entire song, there is a lot of production. You have a track down here called Orchestral Synths and Effects. That's basically anything that's supporting the main instruments, like the drums, the bass, the lead guitars, the rhythm guitars. There's something here called the additional guitars, which was those clean guitars that you just heard in this section that's labeled the orchestral bridge with the tempo shift that I was just talking about. Here, let me mute the orchestra. So while that heavy part is going on, there's these pads and these effects, and there's actually, if you listen really closely, there's actually some screams of kids riding a ride that I just included in there. And for me, I have this philosophy when I am mixing or producing or what have you, every 4 to 8 bars introducing something new. So the first 8 bars of that section, it was just pads. And then 8 bars into that, I started introducing these textures and these arpeggiated effects that are kind of fading in with this tremolo effect. That was a very conscious decision for me to make when I was producing this, because number one, again, keeping someone's attention is so crucial when it comes to a song such as this. I think this comes in right at 9 minutes long. So a song to that depth and that length, it's really, really crucial for you to ensure that their attention is going to be kept. And let's just listen to the rhythm guitars here, why don't we? That's with bass. Following this section is hands down the hardest solo on this entire album. It rips me to shreds. Okay, let's listen to just that solo. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this song, some of you may not have. I'll just restart this part here in a second. But originally, the guitar in the center is the main guitar solo. For whatever reason, like, I wanted it to have like this super like dark and morbid and like have like this fifths effect on top of it. So I used a little bit of Soundtoys' little altar boy to incorporate, and I basically pitched it down 5 semitones. So listen. I just brought across this super awesome vibe that I really loved hearing within this solo. It just brought this new power and this new aesthetic. As you can tell, I'm super excited about this part. It just took me so long to be able to nail down this solo. I think the solo was probably like 2 months in the works. It's not like I worked on it consistently, but sometimes I would get burnt out on the solo. I wouldn't have any new ideas. So bringing that fifths in also inspired me to keep the solo going as well, which I thought was really cool. So let's go ahead and continue this song. And the idea behind this final chorus was it just to be this absolute powerhouse of like a wall of sound that was going to kick people in the face before the final breakdown at the very end of this song, which you will hear in a second. It's also got a tempo change, just a little bit of foreshadowing there. But there was a lot that went into this final chorus, a lot of attention to detail in terms of like counterpoint. As you can hear, there's like a main rhythm guitar like doing the low notes, and then you've got like this arpeggiated guitar that's going along with that. And that just brought this sick and super vibey mesh of sound that was so pleasing to me when I finally finished it. And fun fact, I actually wrote that arpeggiated part on a synth before I actually brought it over guitar. That synth was always going to be in there, just making sure that that guitar was going to really be able to lend a hand to the sheer power of this section was really, really important for me. And then underneath, just for reference, I mean, here, let's play this final chorus and just show you the individual pieces that are going on. So you've got drums, brought to you by P4 plus some samples I made here in the studio, just to bring a little bit of that Brandon Hart flavor in it. Love it or hate it, that's what I did. So, and then I've got my lead guitars here. Okay, yeah. Main solo in the center, and then the arpeggiated guitars on the right and left, with the rhythm guitars. So for me, it was like a perfect blend of sheer girth, power between the solo and those side lead guitars that are doing the arpeggiated thing. It was just like really awesome. I pay close attention to counterpoint when I am like writing a song such as this one. And then behind all of that, I've actually got some synths and pads that are supporting this, just again, to make sure that this thing is just like a sheer wall of sound that was going to be able to, you know, rip people to shreds in the best kind of way, hopefully. So Yeah, okay, so I actually forgot about that. Native Instruments has this incredible plugin called Session Horns, and they've got a alto saxophone and they got a baritone, and basically what I did is I programmed in the same notes. Thankfully, those notes were accessible within these two plugins because they run out when you get too low or too high, so that brought across this insane vibe and glue with those lead guitars. So here's the lead guitars, just the lead guitars, and then I'll bring in the orchestra and the saxophones. So without, now with. See, it's pretty awesome. Now let's go back into the track. Okay, this next riff ruined me. This right here. A lot of legato. I'm a fan, a sucker for legato. Okay, so it is really important for me to note that this breakdown almost didn't make it into the cut. This entire last piece of the song almost did not make the album. And then I showed it to a good friend of mine, this final breakdown, and he was like, dude, you gotta include that in the final like moment of this album, because it really is like this great vibe and glue to the album. So let's go ahead and listen to it. Just hits you in the face. It's huge. Yeah. And then the rest of the song was purely experimental. This almost didn't make it into the album. Just kind of like a happy ending to the album, you know? A little bit of a hip-hop vibe here. Love that kick. I actually stole that kick from Ariana Grande. That's a sample. That's cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Okay, so this final vocal effect that you hear, like the vocal motif, that's actually the same vocal motif that starts Exodus, except in a different key. Again, that was a last-minute decision as well. Yeah. Just kind of brings in these dark vibes along with this like super triumphant vocal. That vocal motif is from Arcade by Output. Almost said input, output. Yeah. So there you have it. That is Sonder in a nutshell. If you want to hear more specifics, on my website at theheartbeatstudios.com, I actually have a producer pack that I offer where you can go a little bit more in depth and hear all of the nuances in various instruments. And if that's something that you're interested in, go on and check out the link in the description and check that out if you want to. I will put that on sale for 50% off if you're interested. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Beyond the Sonics, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.